what I did say before I was rudely interrupted by Piers is I feel joy that people, myself and the million of other Americans, feel joy that this issue is finally receiving attention. That is what I said. So just to be clear, absolutely in zero context did I say I felt joy that a man's life was lost. I am against death in all forms. I am against the death penalty. I do not think that we want to resolve things in any capacity by gun violence.
Right.
It is lucky that no one else was hurt. That is usually the case with how shootings go.
So that remark on that show was taken wildly out of context.
Well, Piers had promoted an edited clip that cut off the rest of my statement. So yeah, if you take a single word and you apply it to a completely different sentence that I never said, then sure, you can manufacture a lot of outrage that way. It's a shame because I think this is a really important discussion to have. And I think the media's obsession with this sort of clickbait outrage stuff is ultimately quite dangerous because people feel that the media is not listening to them. And it is crucial right now that people feel listened to, because when they don't feel listened to and they don't feel like they can operate and protest and make change within a system, they start to operate outside of it. And that's what you saw Luigi do.
You did say that Brian Thompson murdered tens of thousands of people. And I really, murdered?
I do believe that insurance companies denying life-saving care is murder. Again, that does not justify killing in response. However, I do think that we need to acknowledge the violent nature of our for-profit insurance company, or system rather, and what these companies, the reality of the business that they're in, which is denying life-saving care to vulnerable people.
You wrote, you originally posted on X, and people wonder why we want insurance executives dead. You then wrote an article explaining that you're not advocating the murder of people like Brian Thompson. What are you trying to do when you say something like, now you know why we want insurance executives dead?
Yeah, I think I've articulated it repeatedly in quite a lot of nuance. I think it is an active choice to remove that nuance. You'll see the subhead says right there, no, that does not mean that people should shoot them. However, as I have said many times, if you are one of the millions of Americans in this country that has watched someone that you love and care about deeply suffer and die because an insurance company chose to deny them life-saving care, it is natural to wish the same fate, as your loved one on the people responsible for your loved one's death. Again, that is not a very enlightened position. I wish that we could all be kumbaya. However, I think millions of Americans have watched the people they care about die brutal deaths. And I do think that we, again, need to acknowledge the violence of these systems. And that does not mean responding to them with more violence. It means, again, forcing these issues to finally come to the public's attention. It is wild to me that we just finished an entire election cycle and healthcare was...
Nobody talked about it.
I mean, look at this. This is a bipartisan issue. This is not something that's on the left or the right. This is something that all Americans are feeling. 62% of Americans, a recent Gallup poll said, believe that it is the federal government's responsibility to provide health care. We are the only developed nation that does not have sort of public health care.
Yeah, but Taylor,
aren't you
yeah, I know, but you wrote that people have justified hatred toward insurance company CEOs because these executives are responsible for unfathomable amount of death and suffering. But aren't the real villains members of Congress who have so far lacked the backbone to stand up to the healthcare industry and its legions of lobbyists? That's where change happens.
I completely agree that that's where meaningful change happens. Meaningful change does not happen through shooting someone, because again, somebody will just take that person's place. We need to fix these systems. And Congress, you're right. Congress and the lawmakers and the people in power are the ultimate villains here. Again, that does not mean you take violence against them, but we need to figure out how to hold the system accountable. And I think it is very telling that the Congress people have intentionally downplayed and ignored this issue.
Yeah, I'm just, given the fact that you have a platform, and listen, I can read what people are posting too, and I hear what they're saying too. And I've had my own battles with insurance companies. It's infuriating, and it can be heartbreaking when you're facing a life-threatening condition. But to continue to talk about these CEOs are murdering people, when it's Congress, it's up to Congress to change the laws. These guys are just doing their jobs and making money.
Well, exactly. And that is blood money. And I would say it is quite an unethical business to be in. Again, just to say it so many times loud and clear, because I continually am being misquoted, that does not mean that they should suffer violence.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.